Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wednesday, the 22nd of October. Definitely not October. So we'll start with the estimated long to short ratio. Sitting back up here at 70%. Crazy. This has been swinging completely wildly over the last few hours. Um, all the way from 59% to 69% in the literally in the last day, which is crazy to see. Exemplified still on the chart, which is still, pretty much heavily rising. Over there, the estimated liquidation levels, shall I say, are, if I go back to the 1 week, sitting at around, we actually have a lot of stuff literally right below us in the price, right below these wicks at 107.4. And then, yeah, a little bit above us right at that wick that we just did, 113.9. I mean, it's quite exemplary on the price action just from the last low and then the last high that we just did. Quite a lot of liquidations below and above at this moment in time. If I just go to the 3-day, you'll see that, yeah, there's a bit of a gap at 105.5, which is also the long max pain. Well, the long max pain is actually 105.8, and the 2 week is 104.3. So quite interesting to see what happens if we do get down there, and if everyone starts to like either long and we get a big wick, or like if everyone starts to short and then we start to reverse. But kind of looks like we might go and like just take that liquidity first and maybe stop. But yeah, in general, it's not looking the worst. We actually have set a new high. Where damn, look at all these orders that came in. I wasn't looking at this last night, so we had a lot of orders come in just around the high to hold price down, which actually got filled on that wick. So very, very interesting stuff. Failed this node. We're literally right down in between the other two hourlies where the dead zone is. So, a lot of stuff stacked above here at the node. It kind of looks like it wants to do a little bit more down, to be honest, just after that pump. However, we are in the bullish tuber as well. So watch for a little like wick below this level, maybe down to like a 106.5 or something, and then a regain. But it just looks kind of a little bit, it looks a little bit shit at the moment, to be honest. Looks a little bit droopy. Every pump is sold back really, really fast at this moment in time, and there are a lot of longs in the market. So it's safe to say that the bears are still in control. We just have some very, very local price action to the upside, pretty much ever since last couple of days, and that's about it. That's about it. Nothing too crazy to say. The only bit of data you got to watch for this week is the CPI on Friday, I think. What up, Lensby? Just estimated, yeah. Zeus is questioning everything nowadays, which is good. Yeah, so Bitcoin, I mean, I'm still looking for a larger pump up to the 786 as my like upwards target. We did get a little bit of a pump yesterday off this level here. Immediately sold back down as soon as we got to the Q4, as we were looking at. A lot of those orders came back in. These have also actually now stacked above here, well, actually in this area, and there is a lot of liquidity just below us, like around here as well. So I think maybe we're going to do deviation, and if we get like a regain of September weekly open, there'll be an easy trade up to here. But apart from that, it just looks a little bit sideways, consolidation down potentially. We do have this new high here, which is quite nice. Definitely something that has changed the trend, changed the structure slightly. We do have a higher high now, but yeah, it's just a lot of longs in the market, and it just sellers are definitely still in control in general. Every pump is just very, very short lived, very sold back very, very fast. And yeah, there's a lot of things that we could sort of like get out of the way if we did do this like fast move down back towards 100k. And we are failing the weekly open and bearishly backtesting it as of right now. So if we just zoom in, I think this is looking a little bit worse for wear, especially after we did that nice big 4-hour close up here to immediately get sold back down in 2 4-hour candles with the long to short ratio flipping again back to heavily long. We were seeing shorts come back in, but you know, the failure of this weekly open, we've also bearishly backtested it on 2 consecutive 4-hour candles. I just think this has got a good chance to like just grind back down and trap a lot of longs. Like it's kind of tempting me to long. I think I did long actually along here, and now I'm looking at it in this way as not holding the weekly open or September. I'm just looking at it as, you know, potentially gonna get trapped. So I might have to just exit and just wait for something slightly better. However, the move down, oh, did I ruin my sensitivity? Yeah, I must have ruined my sensitivity a bit. Oh no, it's on 5. Put a little bit higher to see what that does. Yeah, so this move down to 100, if we do get, there's a very interesting dead zone at like just below 100. So I'd be interested to see if this like ground down into here. Obviously, maybe we did a bearish retest and then came back down all the way into this stuff. And now, if we do take this stuff, I don't think we're going to go like all the way down to like 96. I think there's a good chance of us stopping just underneath 100. As if we do get down like underneath these wicks, like underneath 103 and stuff like that, I do think that's probably where the long to short will peak out. Obviously, this is kind of like prediction area now. But yeah, if we do get that move down into like 102, all the way down here, I think it will stop at 99. If not, we might just take the long max pain at sort of like 105.5 was one level, and there was also 104.8, so just above June. We might take that stuff and then come up and do a bounce. If we don't see a gain of the weekly open at September, it's probably going to do that move. So yeah, it's kind of looking a little bit, it's just looking a bit meh. It's looking a bit like it wants to do this and then maybe come down here and then, I don't know. But yeah, I might just be a little bit more patient in this area. That wick is super, super nasty. This is a 12-hour. So, and we've lost the weekly open, so I just don't, even though I am in a long, I'm probably going to exit, and I just want to wait for a little bit more of a better setup. And to be honest, we're a bit too low down for me to short, even though the long to short ratio is heavily long. So I think I'm just going to wait, to be honest. It's a bit of a boring week on Bitcoin. And yeah, in the general area, I'm still looking for the 786 to get touched at some point, but maybe not some point soon. Anyway, moving over to ETH. Losing its daily open, did do a nice 4-hour close as well. Wanted to see a hold of this low here. Broke it on this candle, so broke below, bearish retest. This also doesn't look good. I'd be looking, I mean, this is probably more of a short than it is a long at this moment in time. And yeah, we're basically just looking to come down to 3750 and potentially even lower. Yeah, there's quite a lot of liquidations in between here and here. Let me just go on the 12-hour. Yeah, quite a lot in between 3780 and, you know, 3640 in this area. So we might just do like a sweep of the lows here, deviate below, and then potentially get a regain, which we could long back up. But we do have bullish divergence on the 12-hour, which is probably the only good thing that I can say is going for this at the moment. The daily also is hidden bullishly diverged. We also have retail stablecoin demand looking quite good, not too bad at all as well. So you're kind of just waiting for a trigger on this, or a sweep of the lows, something like that, and then a regain, and then potentially this will be looking good to long. But right now, I just don't see it, and it just, it just looks a little bit rough. The 4-hour combination band does come on around the December and August level for ETH, which is also where those liquidations were, and which also would sweep the lows. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, potentially sweeping that and then regaining up to the weekly open. But yeah, it's just not looking wholly attractive at this moment in time for a lot of things, for both of these things, to be honest. But yeah, it's I am expecting a reversal at some point. It just we're just kind of missing a few of the conditions for it, and as you can see from this volumes out of ETH, there's a ton of shorting volume up here, and we are getting a little bit of bullishness come in here, but it's nothing really too crazy. And yeah, it's just it just looks a little bit like downtrendy, doesn't it? What are we thinking? Let me check the chat. What are you boys thinking? I'm questioning things that deserve to be questioned, exactly. And thus far I've been correct. Is anyone, if anyone has been keeping track? Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the long short ratio yesterday. We were saying, it's not 100% that if the long to short ratio is either or one side, it has to go the opposite direction. It's more of just like, I think it's more like if the longs or shorts continue in a trend, it's just going to continue. And then, yeah, once you get that, like, if this does that, people are going to short, I think, because we're going to be underneath this, and then it might just do the regain. But yeah, no, I agree. Definitely everything should be questioned. Wouldn't be out of the question to revisit 98k if we lose the low, just to grab most of the liquidity. Yeah. But I do think we will stop and get front run just above. Where's actually the combination man here? So that's quite interesting. The 12-hour combination man is sitting around the top, is about 1029, sorry. And yeah, we've got this dead zone just underneath 100k. And then yeah, the next sort of like liquidation pocket is like 98 all the way to 97 pretty much, with the next dead zone at 97. So interesting. Let's just have a look at the daily real quick. Yeah, I mean, still definitely in a downtrend. I mean, that was actually a very, very bearish close on the daily last 2 days. Look, I mean, it's just, yeah. We are getting some bullish divergence coming in, which is quite nice. Doesn't mean it has to play out right now. I'm kind of looking for like a move down, take liquidity, long start to like taper off, and then, yeah, maybe we'll chug back up. If not, then yeah, 100k or 99, high 99s is what I'm looking for. But yes, in general, I am in agreement. In the agreement. So yeah, looking at Sol quickly. Yeah, so it's a very local Stubo on Sol. If we're looking at the hourly, we've got a decent amount of support, which we are kind of losing at this moment in time. So let's actually just go on the 4-hour. Maybe like put on this. So we are losing this support on this 4-hour candle as well. So this again doesn't look really too great. This hourly Stubo was more of just like, if we hold if we hold this like support, again, I'm not really that confident in it at the moment because just the amount of longs that are in the market. I'd more want to wait for like a deviation. Let me actually just delete that because it's gonna be way easier to see. Oh, a literal bird just like landed on my windowsill, was staring at me. What the fuck? Yeah, so we're kind of like losing the support right now. We are still in the overlapping support, but we've bearishly retested the weekly open. We've lost, the yearly. We're losing some levels to potentially come down and retest the lows around like 177. And if we have a look at the liquidations, yeah, there's a bit of a hot spot there as well. So I don't know, it looks a bit shit, looks a bit downwards grindy, it looks a bit uninteresting and kind of boring at this moment in time, to be honest. There might be a decent short quite soon on this, but that would have to lose the overlapping support, kind of like close down here, and then bearish retest. Then I'll be looking more to short on this, but, I think if I were to short one thing right now, it'd probably be ETH, just down to the lows of December. Because that kind of looks like, if we gain the daily open, we're probably going to go and test the weekly. Fine, you can have your stop. But it also is a decent percentage chunk in terms of like that. And then maybe like have your stop there, like 1%. So yeah, 4-1. You could probably get a 4-1 short on that. I don't really see the same sort of like risk to reward in Bitcoin and Sol at this moment in time, to be honest. But yeah, apart from that, that's kind of like all I'm looking at this moment in time. And oh yeah, PaxG has been dumping. Gold has been dumping a little bit, which is interesting to see, as MDX did his post saying that gold has likely topped in or around this area, which is very, very interesting. Let's actually just go to the monthly quickly. But yeah, it was inflation adjusted, wasn't it? So it'll probably be like M2NS. Oh, here we go. So he's saying that gold is likely topped in comparison to inflation rate in this area. Interesting. Definitely interesting. Yo, what's happening with this on the top? That's crazy. But yeah, anyway, what's everyone else looking at? What are you finding boring about this market? Are you liking the market? Are you liking the price action? Are you looking at any alts? I've realized that I haven't really been looking at many alts recently after that big wick down, because it's just not really that interesting at the moment. The only thing that interests me is Tau, but I'm in spot on this, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. Other than that, like everything's kind of just like downwards grindy, and I don't want to short after this massive dump. There obviously are some like scalps that you can do. For example, on injective, the loss of this level right here, which we just bearishly retested here, is a potential scalp, especially if we like come back up and like just dilly dally in this area once more. That might be a good short down to the lows. But apart from like short scalps like that, low time frame scalps, or I'm just not really. It just doesn't look that great, and yeah, I'm also like having a lot of fun like just gaming at the moment. So, as long as it's not a crow, you're fine. It was a magpie, but the crows are watching. Wouldn't be out of the question. Yeah. I'm not thinking 98, I'm thinking like high 99s, just underneath 100, because that psychological level of like losing 100 might get a lot of people to flip short, especially after we get underneath that structure and take quite a lot of that liquidity in between like 100 to 104. There's also an important low at like 100 to 101, which could be wicked underneath and regained, and then, long shorts. Yeah, anyway. Black Swan. Did anyone here catch the wick on PaxG? Let's have a look at PaxG. The wick to the downside or the wick to the upside? Probably the wick to the downside. I wouldn't long this just yet. It looks like we're kind of like losing the daily open. To long this, I would want to wait for this 4-hour candle to close above the daily. Then you have a really clear, really easy trade back up to the day, back up to the weekly. It's long here, back up to the weekly, and then obviously your stop can just be just below this low, which is about, you know, 0.6, 0.7 with a potential, you know, like 3.5% gain, which is actually really good risk to reward. So yeah, regain that daily weekly open on this next 4 hour candle, and you're going to be chilling on this. But for now, this could potentially go all the way down to something like underneath 4K to 3.97 to 4K in that area. But yeah, you might actually get a little bit of bounce here because you're in the 4 hour combination band and you do have 2 wicks into it. So if this candle closes above the daily open, it's actually going to look quite good. And it actually does look kind of good anyway, just for at least a test of the weekly open. But yeah, this is definitely broken structure and is in a micro downtrend on the 4 hour. So yeah, there's actually a couple decent trades on here. So yeah, I'd short that weekly open potentially. And yeah, not too bad. Are you kidding me? Man waited till we had a crazy break at the chart, then said something. Do you watch any of my streams? Well, they're in a difficult time for me, bro. They're in a bit of a difficult time for me because you start at 7 p.m. and then I like turn it on. I'm like, oh, I'm actually really hungry. I've got to go make some food. So, are you kidding me, man? Waited till we had a crazy bigger chart and then said something. Well, baby boy, wish I had time to jack up, baby. Yeah. I'm enjoying my last bit of childness, of adolescence, let's say. See what I did there, like that player was, yeah. Upside, brother. I always hear you guys saying Stuber. What is the Stuber? Okay, so the Stuber is coined by StuTube in the group. And it basically refers to the 786/886 pocket. So when you get a higher high or a lower high on the price, you can basically pull your Stuber, or let's call it fib, from the low to the high, or the high to the low, whichever way you're looking at. And the Stuber pocket is the 786 to the 886 pocket. That's basically what it is. It's just 2 fibs. But Stu has coined the term in the Discord, so yeah, that's all it is. Upside, brother. Be nice, Zeus. You have to play his Atari box. Oi, is that all you know, Grandpa? Atari and Sega GameCube. This man was using multiple tools, and a lot of them landed on around 4.6 to 4.7 for the top. It was pretty accurate, although I didn't place any bids. What, for packs? Yeah, very interesting. 4.6, 4.7. Yeah, that had that massive wick up. And then did the retest failure. Yeah. I mean, if Max is calling for a gold top, then let's not fade. But I do think we have potentially a couple good trades on this. Even if you get down to it, it's a potential area to like long bounce it up. And then, yeah, weekly opens good to short. I might be taking a couple of those decent little trades. CB64. Is that meant to be NT64? I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm too young. Stubers and pivots. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, apart from that, quite an uninteresting market. And yeah, a lot of these alts though, so what I will say is a lot of things / alts are kind of like bullishly diverging as we potentially just trend down a little bit more. So for example, on something like SUI, I don't expect this to get above this weekly open yet, but I do expect it to take this liquidity and then get a regain and potentially pump up. So I'm just watching for a clear of these like liquidation levels below before I get a bit too excited. Get a bit too excited. Yeah, Donkey Kong on Game Boy. I did used to play the Game Boy. Back in the day. Commodore 64, the original. Ooh. Yeah, I'm a little bit too young for that. So that was before NT64, right? Did you play that one? Of course. Metroid's on Game Boy. I did have Metroid Prime Hunter. I did have that. That was the shit, bro. But yeah, like, I don't know, before I like move out of London in January and like I move and probably like I won't be able to game with some of my boys as much, and it's also like now this time there's just a lot of good games on at the moment, so I'm kind of just enjoying being like this, you know. I'm using my time wisely while the market's shit, let's say. But yeah, apart from that, not really too much on. And I'm gonna stop my recording so we can just chill and talk about whatever now.